Ladies and gentlemen, Heng, I think we averted a stock market crash. So yesterday, Jerome Powell came up and announced the new interest rate policy, and there are huge implications to what's going to happen to the stock market ahead. Let's analyze what happened and why I breathe a sigh of relief, shall we? So what happened yesterday? Jerome Powell and the FOMC met and decided that they will hold the interest rate at where it is today. That's, in theory, not a very good news, because this means that, the long wished and hoped for interest rate cut is not going to happen, this time, and probably not going to happen next round. But yet, the stock market initially rallied at this news. Why? Right? Why? Okay, I'll talk about it later. So with the speech that he initially said, the whole stock market went up encouragingly, right? But somehow towards the end of the Q&A, it went down again, right? So it caused me to think what happened, and I'll give you my analysis why. But let's take a look at the news, shall we? So the usual disclaimer, what I say here is more for education, entertainment, not to tell the buy and sell. So let's go on. So before this meeting, the stock market was already prepared that the interest rate cuts is going to happen much further out there, and it's going to be less and less. So initially they were prepared for 5 rate cuts, and then it dropped to 4 to 3 to 2. Now people are talking about no rate cuts and maybe even a rate hike. So that was the one that really spooked the whole stock market, and the stock market for the last 2 weeks or so has been going down, and then occasionally up and down with huge volatility, but generally bad news. In fact, there are market watchers that predicted that the stock market S&P 500 will crash below 4,900 points to maybe 4,008, and some even say around the vicinity of 4,007. Well, you know what? Today we actually have the news that confirm what it's going to be. Jerome Powell did deliver bad news. The bad news is that there is no interest rate cut, and there will be no interest rate cut that he can foresee that's coming. But yet, he was not as hawkish as everybody feared. Powell just acknowledged that the inflation rate this year has been higher than what the FOMC has hoped, and the economic outlook is pretty uncertain. So the Federal Reserve will be highly sensitive to inflation risk. So we know that the inflation this year has been quite a disappointment. We have hoped that it will come down, but it didn't, and it's kind of a stagnant number, and it even seems to have risk of going up. So I think the market biggest fear is that the Federal Reserve will say, I think I'm prepared to increase interest rate to fight this reinflation, right? So, but fortunately, Jerome Powell actually didn't say that, right? So he emphasized their dual mandate. They have to be careful of inflation and also unemployment. So they do not want inflation to be high, and yet they do not want to spike the interest rate such that unemployment start to hit at a high level. So this is where he reiterated that, which means that there is a lot of concern on FOMC side that interest rate should come down one day, and if they can, they will let it come down quickly, as long as there are signals in the data that says that inflation is coming down. Jerome Powell actually said that they don't think that there will be an increase in interest rate. An increase in interest rate is not in their base case, not in their horizon, right? So that's a very, very good news, because that is what exactly people most feared of, because this is the worst case scenario. Market will crash by, I don't know, gazillion points and things like that. Fortunately, Powell specifically said, no, we do not think that there will be an increase in interest rate, and their monetary policy is restrictive enough. That's already a very good news, and the whole stock market rallied. Okay, whole stock market rallied in the initial part of his speech. So at that part, I was watching it and I said, wow, that's good news. I was letting it just run around, and I was listening to it. Take note, it's at 2:30, right? By the time we reached about 3:10, 3:15, I fell asleep. And I woke up, the whole stock market crashed, okay, crashed. And I was wondering why, and we did the analysis and try and figure out. Let's take a look. Frankly speaking, after all the research that we've done to try to understand why the stock market dipped in the end of his speech, frankly speaking, we have no idea why. Because all the news so far is pretty good from a market watcher perspective, right? So we have a few possibility and few hypotheses why the market went down at the end. I know why it go up. It went up because Federal Reserve Chairman re-emphasized that they will not increase the interest rate in their base case scenario. So I think that's really good news. The whole market rally up. But why did it come down? Well, I think I have a few reasons. Number one is that he reiterated and emphasized the strength of the US economy. He said the US economy is still strong. It's not as strong as the previous quarter, but this quarter is still strong. You know, it's still strong. And therefore, when the US economy is strong, there is no impetus to cut interest rate. So that kind of spooked the market a little. It could be the reason, but I don't think that was the main reason why it came down. So I think there is still a possibility that the policymakers have lost confidence in inflation coming down. So what really spooked the market could be that Federal Reserve Chairman have actually hinted that it'll be higher for longer, and that kind of signal that interest rate cut may not happen this year. We don't even know next year whether it will happen. So this one kind of make everybody very sian, very unexcited about the possibility of interest rate cut. So the realization that interest rate cut may not happen this year could have caused the dip eventually. But that is, in my opinion, something that people will already accepted, because the inflation is really high, right? I don't think this is a real reason why market has gone down. The only thing I could think of realistically is just market volatility, right? There's a lot of market profit taking. They say, wow, market goes up, quickly take some money and run first, right? So I think there's sort of market volatility, and I've emphasized again, right? In the 1980s, when Paul Volcker, the Federal Reserve Chairman, resolved the problem of the high inflation, the recovery has lots of volatility, as you can see on this graph. Just volatility as it goes up. Huge volatility. And I'm sure some of this volatility, when you see this, feels like the market is going to die again, right? So I think we are in that kind of scenario again. Human behavior don't change throughout the ages. So I think what has happened in the 1980s is no different from what we are seeing happening right now. So we just expect volatility to come again. So we have said this many times, and we're going to say this again. Expect huge volatility in the coming months. I don't know whether it's like that, or like that, or like that, but I know it's going to be huge volatility. So we're not sure whether the retracement will come for sure, but I think there'll be some form of retracement. But if the retracement come in a big way, I'll add more position. If it doesn't, I'll be happy. I'll just watch and see what's going to happen. So in a nutshell, I think the whole Federal Reserve Chairman announcement is more good than bad. We are comforted that interest rate hikes is not in his base case, and he don't think he needs to do that. So therefore, the market downside is now a lot more limited. So I think this is more good news. The biggest fear I have is actually reinflation. Okay, reinflation, meaning that inflation not just didn't go down and just stay flat. Inflation actually spiked up, and in a big way. If this were to happen, I think an interest rate hike is going to be a possibility, and that will crash the market in a big, terrible way. I don't think this is the base case, and I see the oil prices now coming down. So I think that this possibility is not high, it's low, but not no. So we got to watch and see, right? So over the next few weeks and next few months, we'll see volatility for sure. But hang on, I think in the long run, we'll still be okay. So with this, thank you for watching. We all have a great news from Jerome Powell. So let's take comfort. Remember, like, subscribe the video channel, and join our Telegram channel. Thank you, and I'll see you in a day or two. Bye-bye.